Welcome to Living a Sustainable Dream, and I'm Krista. Today I'm going to be canning carrots. I've just harvested them out of my garden. They've been in my refrigerator for a couple days, and now I'm ready to go ahead and process them. So what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to process my carrots, and I'm going to use my pint-sized jars. You can use either wide mouth or regular mouth. Today I'm going to use regular mouth jars. And to can carrots, you need to use a pressure canner. So I'll be using my pressure canner to actually process the carrots when I'm done peeling them and packing them in my jars. And I'm also going to be doing a raw pack. I'm not going to cook my carrots ahead of time. I'm going to do a raw pack into my jars, fill it up with my boiling water, and then I'll process them into my pressure canner. So let's go ahead and get started. It's going to take a while for me to go ahead and clean these. I'm going to then peel them. I'm then going to cut them into big enough pieces to fit into my jar. And if I have any extras, then I do what I call kind of niblets. I'll put all the little extra pieces in a jar and just have a can of little carrot niblets. Canning carrots, I love it. I did it for the first time last year, and it was so much fun when I was making stews, soups, roasts that required carrots. I could just go to the top of my pantry, take out a jar that I've already canned with my carrots, put them in, they're cooked, they're ready to go. So I can put my carrots in my soups and everything later after everything else is cooked, and they are awesome and ready to go. So processing carrots is really fun to have some, to be able to have carrots all year round, and they're ones that you grew and processed yourself. You know, as I'm washing these, I've got a double sink, and I'm just rinsing off the dirt, and I'm rinsing them off in this sink, and then I'm putting them in my furthest sink over here, because then I can just take them out of this sink and peel them and put them over here ready to cut. And that way I'm not moving my carrots 3 different times, moving them around in different spots. I've just kind of found that the more efficient you can be when you're processing your things, it just saves a little bit of time. And so I just rinse off my carrots in one side of my sink, place the rinsed off ones on the other, and then when I'm ready to peel, all I have to do is peel them right into here, and I can just place them over here and get them ready for cutting. Just a little tip that when you can a lot, you try to make your processing as easy as possible, and you know, the old adage is, right, work smarter, not harder. So through the years, I've just kind of noticed, you know, you just kind of set yourself up to get things done as efficiently as possible. I now have my carrots all cleaned, and as you can see, I'm peeling, just kind of doing my next step, and I'm putting all my carrots in a bowl so that when I'm done peeling, all I need to do is take this bowl, set it in my sink, and start cutting right here on my countertop, on my kitchen sink. And I also have my little scrap container, because all my peelings will go to my chickens. They love it. You know, during canning season, my chickens sure do get a nice little variety of their diet, right? I mean, we already give them all our vegetable scraps and everything through the year, but boy, when it's canning season, they get a lot, because I just am processing and processing. So anyway, they kind of get their treats, which is really fun. All right, we're just going to keep peeling. And during this time when I'm doing peeling, and it's kind of the more tedious part of canning, man, I put on some music, listen to my tunes, and just kind of work, and get all this kind of preparation done before I actually can it up. I now have my carrots all peeled. I've got my peelings for my chickens, which they are going to love, so I'm going to set this aside. I have, as you might be able to hear in the background, I have my water boiling. I have my cans in my stock pot, getting all sterilized. I've got my water for my jars to can. The water my boiling water I'm gonna ladle into my jars. I have that going, and my pressure canner is all set up. I kind of like to get all of that going as I'm on my last step here, which is to cut up my carrots to fit into my jars, and then start packing them up. Once everything is boiling, all my water is boiled, and my jars have been sterilized. So let's go ahead and get started cutting. I also have a stock pot in my sink so that all my cut pieces I can just put in here and they're all ready to can. What I'm going to do is I've got my jar so I can get my measurement of my first carrot. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to get my, kind of get a carrot so I can measure the length of the carrots that I want to be able to fit in my jar. All right, this size for me right here is perfect. I want to be able to pour my water above my carrot, and then I have to leave a ½ inch of headspace too when I can. So this is going to go ahead and be my measurer. Now, as far as the thickness of carrots to can, this is perfect. You can can the carrot just like this. It does not need to be sliced or cut. If you've got a thicker carrot with a little bit thicker base here than this, or even better yet, if you have a carrot that's thicker at the base in its circumference here, you're going to want to go ahead and slice those up before you put them in there, before you put them in your jar. Because when you're processing these are too thick to just cook all the way whole, okay? So if your carrots are thick, no problem. Just go ahead and slice them up, and I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to leave this piece here, cut off the tip. I'm going to leave this piece for my little, I call it a little carrot niblet, a little leftover from when I'm cutting mine to size. I'm going to save all of these, and I'm going to can them all in one can all together. So I'm going to set that aside. Go ahead and cut this off. Okay, this is about the right size. And again, I'm going to put all my little pieces for my chickens. What I'm going to do with the big one is I'm going to cut it in half. And this is about, oh, this is great. You can go ahead and can this just like this. So these two pieces, these are ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep, and when I have a crooked carrot like this, I use my longest straight piece first. So I'm going to cut that off, which is going to make this a little bit short, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and cut it in half. And I'm going to just leave this just like this to go ahead and can. Yeah, it's a little crooked, but it's all right. It'll go in my jar just fine. And there's my little carrot, my little container for my chickens. And we'll go ahead, keep that piece. That's a little large. We'll just cut it in half. There we go. Keep that little carrot niblet. That's perfect. I can just leave that as is. And there we go. I can hear my water boiling in my kettle. That is the water that I'm going to go ahead and use for my boiling water to put in my pressure canner. I'm just going to keep on cutting these, and we'll see how many pints I get. I just weighed my carrots, and my carrots, I'm canning about, between 7 and 8 pounds of carrots. I have my carrots cut to the size I want. I'm all ready to go. And then I have my little bowl of niblets. I'm now ready to pull my jars out and put my carrots in my jars. My Steady Eddie hot dog tongs to get my jars out of the water. Go ahead. I'm going to pull them all out because loading up carrots is not that difficult. It goes pretty fast. My pressure canner holds 7 pint jars or 7 quarts, either depending on the jar I'm using. So I've got 7 here. I'm going to go ahead and get my carrots and put them in the jar. I just grab a few at a time. Kind of keep my jar tilted. And I just kind of shake them down, shake them around so I can get in as many as I can. Looks like a few more can go in there. Okay, whoop. And there we go. It's about as many as I'm going to put in my jar. And I've got it pretty full. That jar is hot. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to continue loading all my carrots into my jars. And as I said, I'm doing a raw pack. I did not cook these carrots ahead of time. I just like they seem to hold up and process really well this way. So this is just the way I do it. You can do either or. Looks like I can fit maybe another little one in there. And you know, once you prepare your carrots, you cut them all cut to the way you want. Putting them in the jars is very easy. Loading them up is no problem at all. And half a canning to me, well, not half, but a big portion of canning to me is presentation. I just love it when you've got your carrots, they're all just, you know, in your jar. They're all, you know, standing upright. They just look all uniform in there. And the color, obviously the orange of the carrot is just beautiful as far as I'm concerned. And they're going to look gorgeous when we have them all processed and I pull them out of the pressure cooker. They're going to look just beautiful. Look at how beautiful those are looking. Oh my goodness, I love it. I love it. So you kind of want to work at a decent pace. And I am going to go ahead and do one jar with my niblets here on this batch, because I'm going to have another batch. I can tell by the amount of carrots I've got left, which is great. The more the merrier, I say. The more I have processed and put away for the winter, the better. Woo, that's a hot jar. Go ahead and put that down. Excellent. Looks like I'll have a couple more pints that I can can. I can still can. Oh yeah, these are looking terrific. Okay. And I have found that this size jar right here really works well when I'm doing stew. It's about the right size. Okay, with the niblets, I just put them in. Because these are just going to look like little chunks, you know? Okay, and I'm going to only do about half because I'm going to do two. Looks like I've got about 2 jars worth here. So I'm just going to fill it up halfway. I have all my jars now ready to go. I've got all 7 of them. I now have my jars ready to go. I've got my funnel, and I'm going to add a little salt. It is totally optional. The amount that they say is you can do a half a teaspoon per pint. I don't want that much, so I'm going to do probably like a 1/4 of a teaspoon, just to give a little taste to the carrots. And I use kosher coarse salt. I'm just going to go ahead and put that in there. All right, there we go. Beautiful, easy to can carrots, isn't it? And you know, don't be shy. If you've never canned before, don't be shy. I'm going to go ahead and ladle in my boiling water, and you want to leave an inch of headspace. I think I misspoke when I first started and I said a half an inch of headspace, but you want an inch of headspace. Okay. So there we go. We're just going to ladle these in here. Beautiful. You know, doing vegetables are relatively easy. And if you've never pressure canned before, don't be scared. The canners that they have now, compared to the older ones, a little bit easier to regulate. You've got your vent All right, and it calls to process these for 25 minutes in your pressure canner, not your water bath canner, at 10 pounds of pressure. These are looking spectacular. I absolutely love it. Okay, those are looking great. I'm just seeing here, it looks like we got them a couple of them a little low. Okay, there we go. Awesome. Are these looking gorgeous? Just gorgeous. I love that color orange. It's just awesome. All right, I am now going to go ahead and take my little magnet and I'm going to pull out my lids. And you know, you may want to go ahead and wipe the tops off. So I just like to take my lids right out of my water, put them right on my jars. Here we go. All right, now I'm going to remove my bands and we will get them all. And when you're using your pressure canner, each pressure canner is a little different. So you want to follow your instructions as to how much water you put in there. I put a little vinegar in there to also help prevent browning and that kind of thing in my canner. It keeps your canner really clean when you're processing. So, so as soon as I get all my bands on, and once again, I really like to make sure I hold my lid down while I put my band on so that my lid won't move. Just put it on, just, you know, not totally, don't worry about totally getting them totally tight at this point. You're just wanting to make sure your band is centered and in the correct spot. Or excuse me, your lid is in the correct spot while you put your band on. Okay, and then go ahead and just kind of tighten them up a little bit. Oh yeah, these are looking great. Okay, I've now got all my jars ready. I've got my water, I have my pressure canner ready to go with the right amount of water and vinegar in there, and I'm going to process these for 25 minutes at 10 pounds pressure, and then we'll pull them out, and they're going to be looking gorgeous. This is my pressure canner. I have the Presto 23-quart pressure canner, and I can fit 7 pints or 7 quarts of jars in here to process at a time. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about my pressure canner in particular, because a lot of people seem to be very leery about using their pressure canner or any pressure canner. Mine is a little bit more modern. I do not have the old pressure canner. So this is what they're currently selling. And I like this canner for a few reasons, and I've had awesome success with this canner. I've never had any problem with anything blowing up, nothing happening inside my canner. It's done really well. And here's what I like. Here's a few things that I like about my canner. Number one, first of all, my canner calls for 3 quarts of water, boiling water, to be put inside, and 2 tablespoons of white vinegar. And the white vinegar helps the jars and the lids from browning, and it keeps your canning process really clean inside. Once you have your water in there, your boiling water and your vinegar, you place your jars inside, and then you seal up your lid. And this is one thing I like about this canner in particular. If you look at the handle right here, it's 2 pieces. You can kind of see the line right here. Once your top lid piece and the piece that is attached to your pot line up, you know that you have closed your pressure canner properly. And it also even has little instructions on here. You line up the V when you're first putting it on, and then once you twist on your jar, your lid, and it says which direction to go, which direction to open. It's very, very self-explanatory so that you're not going to mess up. You know that you've got your lid on and screwed on tightly. The next thing I'm going to look for is this vent right here. Once all the water and everything boils, this vent is going to vent steam. And for this canner in particular, you want the steam to vent for 10 minutes. Once it's vented for 10 minutes, and you're going to see your gauge is still going to be at about the 0, maybe a little bit above, because here's the thing. You haven't pressurized your canner yet. You've just gotten everything to boil, okay? Once everything's boiling and your vent has vented steam for 10 minutes, you're going to take your weight and you're going to stick it right on your vent. Now, your pressure canner is going to start filling up and become pressurized. And you're going to see your gauge starting to rise. Once it rises to 10 pounds of pressure, okay, you can see on the gauge the 10 at the top. Once your little needle reaches the 10, and this little valve right here is going to go ahead and rise up. Once it rises up, you then start your timer for how long it says to process whatever food you have in your canner. Particularly today, I have my carrots. And so I'm going to then set my timer for 25 minutes. And I will let my canner cook the carrots for 25 minutes at 10 pounds of pressure. And I've noticed that I need to come and take a look at my canner ever so often and adjust the heat, because sometimes the needle will get really, really high above the 10 pounds. And you want to make sure that you stay right around that 10 pound point. And so you have to adjust your temperature either high or low a little bit. And once you know your stove top and how it runs your canner, you'll be able to do this with more ease and know exactly where you can set your dial to maintain that 10 pounds of pressure. This is just a little addition to canning, but I just wanted to kind of go over this and review it for you. For those of you who have not used your pressure canner or a pressure canner very much. Don't be afraid. If you follow your instructions, you're going to do really well and nothing's going to happen to your canner. Nothing's going to blow up. The inside of your product inside of your canner is going to do really well. So now I'm going to go ahead and continue and let my carrots, I'm going to take this off. I'm going to let my carrots continue now to get pressurized and boil inside. And as I can see, I'm starting to see steam come out of my vent. And this is terrific. I have just opened up my pressure canner and the carrots are ready to go. They are looking beautiful. So I'll be taking them out of my canner and putting them on my table to cool down and let all the lids and everything seal up. How exciting. So much fun. Aren't these looking beautiful? This is so much fun. This is always the best part, when you get to take them out of your canner and let them just cool down and you've got your fruit or your vegetables all processed. So fun. Aren't these looking great? Look at my little niblets. Just all my little pieces I can use whenever. Using my soups, using my stews. If I only need little pieces, no problem. Mostly in soups, like my chicken noodle soup, you just use little small pieces of carrot. Those are awesome for that. Okay. So there you have it. I'm going to continue to process my carrots. I have a few more to go. I want to thank you for joining me today on Living a Sustainable Dream in canning carrots. And did you just hear that pop? That's the best sound. That means they're sealing up and everything is just coming along. All right, I will catch you on our next video.